Thank you, everybody, for coming to Churchill's this morning. I think we're going to have a great time. The weather is really cooperating. And without further ado, here is Jane Kelly.
Hey, guys. Yeah. I always feel awkward when people clap. Anyway, thanks for having me. Thanks for coming, and what a great turnout. Love that everybody's here. Who likes birds? Yeah, a lot of bird nerds, love that. So my name's Jane Kelly. I'm from On the Wing. I'm a licensed falconer, rehabilitator, and educator. You got to have a federal and state license. Fortunately, I am blessed and lucky to have Veterinary Emergency and Surgery Hospital. They partner up with me, so I have access to medical treatment 24/7, which is pretty amazing. And last night at 12:30, I got a call with a juvenile barred owl that was hit by a car. So, you know, I'm fortunate in that manner with their facility and expertise and all their help. And Lindsay's here today helping with me. She's the hospital administrator. So, yeah, I'm very lucky to have her. Anyway, so we got the umbrella of raptors. Can anybody tell me what a raptor is? I bet some of these kids down here. Yep. A bird of prey. What does that mean, a bird of prey?
Like a falcon or something?
Well, that's a type of raptor, but what does it mean? What do you think of when you think of a raptor? Yep.
They eat meat.
They eat meat. What do they use to eat meat with?
Their talons. Their sharp beak.
They have a hooked beak, a sharp beak, and somebody over here said talons, right? Yes. Yes, yes. And under that umbrella are a family of raptors. What kind of birds fall under that? We've got five species of birds that fall under that. Yes?
Owls, vultures, falcons, and hawks, and eagles.
Yes, you missed one. It rhymes with prey. An osprey, right? Yes, yeah. No, you did a great job, buddy. You did an awesome job. Right?
I know one too.
Eagles, right. So when you look at birds of prey, you look at the position of their eyes. And when you look at humans, you look at the position of our eyes. And where are our eyes?
Forward.
Yes, they're in the front. Eyes in front like to hunt. Eyes on the side like to hide. So when you look at a dog, where are their eyes?
Up front.
Up front. Cat. Horse. Right. So you think of a horse, you think of this big animal, and you think that has to be prey, or that has to be a predator, and it's prey. But we're at the top of the food chain. We're the top predator, right? So should we bring out some birds? Yeah. All right. Does anybody know what our smallest owl is in our area? A saw-whet. And this year we had what we call an eruption of saw-whets, a ton of them. Unfortunately, there's one that is unreleasable. That's going to be an education bird, and so he's in training right now. I brought him today. His name is Saru, and he was born last year. So you guys get to see a little saw-whet, which is unusual. If you look at his face, you'll see that his feathers are disheveled in between his eyes, and then right above his beak, most of his cere was torn off from when he got hit by the car. They are our smallest owls. They'll pull themselves really, really tight, make themselves look really small like a pine cone. What do you think these guys eat?
Mice?
They will eat mice, yep. Bugs, insects, they eat a lot of insects, right? So they help with the populations. Wait, I'll call on you, okay? So, but remind me, okay, honey, if I don't get to you. They help control our population of insects, definitely. They're a part of that chain.
They eat bugs.
They do eat bugs. You can tell a time of day an owl hunts by the color of their eyes. If you look at the color of an owl's eyes, you can tell what time of day they hunt, which makes sense. If you think about like a manufacturing plant, a factory, and there's all different shifts, right? All the way around the clock. It's the exact same thing with birds. Birds have a time of day that they hunt. They control a certain species of population, maybe a variety of different species of things that they hunt. These guys will hunt during the day. They do hunt at night. But if you were to see them hunting at daytime, you probably wouldn't even notice it because A, they're a silent flyer, and B, they fly kind of sporadically. So it would look kind of moth-like or butterfly-like. And unless you were really tuned in, it would just probably whiz right by you and you wouldn't see it. Who knows what the second smallest owl is in our area? Anybody know what this? Do you know what the second smallest owl is? Eastern screech owl. So I have two of those. I have a red morph and a gray morph.
Is it the big one?
They're little, honey. Let me grab them. I'll show you really quick. These are screech owls. The gray owl is a western screech owl. And the red morph is an eastern screech owl. These guys are bunkmates. They live together. They know each other. And come on, Scout. Come on. Hang on. So I'm holding up a piece of bark so you can see how they blend, how they camouflage themselves. Both of these guys are non-releasable birds. They both were hit by cars. Each of them have a blind eye. So I got them from rehabbers. One, the red morph came from Massachusetts, and the gray morph came from Utah. Yes. That's a great question. Are there any predators to these owls? Yes. Bigger owls.
Yeah.
And if they're on the ground, maybe a fox or a coyote would get them if they were down on the ground. A cat will get them. But for the most part, it's bigger owls are their predators.
You were saying about the color of the eyes, so if they're yellow, do they?
They'll hunt during the day.
If they're yellow?
Yeah. These guys hunt during the night, though, too.
Okay. And if they're brown, then?
Night is not, darker. The darker the iris, the better you see in the dark. So don't untie him until he's in his little thing and you shut the door. Yeah. Now these guys have what are called ear tufts. Let's see. Oh, Scout. I'm going to have to show you the ear tufts on Leela. These guys have ear tufts. Those are not ears. They are used for camouflage and for communication. They may aid in hearing somewhat when they're pushing sound down toward that side, of their face. Their ears are asymmetrical. You can see them panting right now. Does anybody have a dog? You know how your dog pants to cool down, and they also will cool down through their feet? Exact same thing with birds of prey. Does anybody have any questions about these guys? Yes, you have a question? Yes? They like to fly? They do like to fly. Yes.
How old are they?
I don't know how old they are because they came to me from other rehabbers. Hey, step up here. Come on, step. Come on. I don't know the age of them because they came to me as adult birds. So, and I don't know how to. age them with their feathers like a saw-whet. Yes.
Do they bite?
They do bite, and their feet are dangerous. Yes.
How long do how long does morning owls stay at night? Until they go to bed? The morning owls.
Oh, when do they sleep? So the question is, when do they sleep? And all the birds sleep in little intervals. I don't know if people are familiar with horses, but horses will shut down for maybe 10-15 minutes. Birds of prey shut down half of their brain in intervals, so the other half is awake. And then they have what's called a third eyelid, a nictitating membrane, and that is, sheer, so they can see through it. So they probably don't sleep like we do, where they go into phases 3 and 4 and get really, really deep sleep. All right, I'll have Lindsay walk around with one of these guys, and then I'll get the next bird out, okay? If 2 times a day 3 times a day when the birds hunt. What's a day hunter called?
I was going to ask another question about those owls.
Okay, 1 second. What do you call a day hunter? Diurnal, right. And what do you call a nighttime hunter?
Okay.
Nocturnal. Does anybody know what you call dusk and dawn hunters? Oh. Do you know? What is it? You don't know? Okay. Anyone? Crepuscular. So when you look at the last owl that I'll bring out, look at the color of her eyes, and you can tell what time of day she'd hunt. And again, she'll hunt at night as well. It's a male.
Males, yeah.
They are. He's little. So look at him showing off his wings for you. Nice, buddy. This is Urchy. He's a black vulture. We have turkey vultures in our area, and actually Exeter has a black vulture that's been roaming around with the turkey vultures the last 2 years. Black vultures are more aggressive than our turkey vultures. Oh, please don't throw rocks around the birds, okay? Because it could startle them. They're more aggressive than our turkey vultures. They'll ride the thermals, which are columns of hot air when you see them soaring up in the sky. And they'll watch the turkey vultures soaring below them. As soon as the turkey vultures find carrion, these black vultures will push the turkey vultures off of what they're eating and take over the site. So you probably can't see it, but his beak has a hole all the way through it. So he has it's just hollow, so that no bacteria gets lodged in there as they're eating. When they're on something dead, they put their whole head in the cavity, and so stuff doesn't get lodged in there. And then once they're done eating, they sneeze, and they'll sneeze and sneeze and sneeze to work everything out, which is pretty amazing. Yes.
Are they indigenous to this area?
They have been working with their way up here. We've had one that's been up here the last 2 years in Exeter. It's been hanging around some turkey vultures. And there's been other reported sightings over by the coast. Yes?
How much can they weigh?
How much do these guys weigh? How much does everybody think that Urchy weighs? 45?
48.
5?
48.
48? 8? Yeah. I love that someone said 45 because it makes me feel like I'm really strong. Yeah, he weighs about 8.5 pounds, 9 pounds. He is a handsome bird. These guys are extremely intelligent. You rarely will find a vulture hit by a car. You'll rarely find a crow or a raven hit by a car. They're very, very intelligent birds. Yes?
Do these birds live in our state or somewhere far away?
So they're slowly moving their way up to our state. So eventually we'll probably have a big population of them.
Well, where were they first?
These are more southern birds. He came from Florida.
So
Yeah.
mostly like old birds?
They're down like in Costa Rica and South America and Florida. Yes.
Are there areas they're more prone to, like coastal or waterways?
Yeah, definitely coastal birds. They eat a lot of fish, like down in South America, they're everywhere. Down in Florida, you got some populations up along the coast where it's warmer. So,
Jane, are they smaller than the red-headed?
yeah. So the question is, are they smaller than a turkey vulture? Yes, they are smaller than a turkey vulture. Far more aggressive. But just as powerful as a turkey vulture. Same sense of smell, same sense of sight. Yes. They migrate in the winter further south. Yep. Yeah.
They die for food, like eggs.
Do they dive for food? Nope. But they will go in water for food, which is unusual. Most turkey vultures won't go in water. These guys will go in water. Yes.
How long is their wingspan?
How long is their wingspan? How long do you think his wingspan is? Yeah, it's about 4 or 5 feet when it's totally extended out, including his body. Any other questions? No? Okay.
Is there a reason why they're called turkey vultures? I missed that.
Oh, that's a good question. Does anybody know why they're called turkey vultures? I mean, obviously black vulture, but I don't know why they'd call them turkey vultures. Maybe because they look like a turkey? Is that, I've never looked that up, and that's, now I'll be on Google looking that up tonight. You have a question? What's your question? What did he say?
The vultures dive into the water, grab the fish, and bring them back up and eat them.
Oh, okay, so you're talking about an osprey. One thing, though, that vultures do that's kind of gross but very, very cool is they relieve themselves on their legs and their feet. And it's for 2 reasons: to kill the bacteria of what is left over from what they just ate, and also to cool themselves down. So when vultures will relieve themselves on their legs and their feet, and that is to kill the bacteria from being on a kill site, and it also cools their feet and legs down when it's really hot. It's kind of gross, but it's kind of a cool fact, right? Yes.
How big can they get?
He's a full size, he's an adult, he's full size. This is a Gyr Falcon hybrid. He is 50% peregrine, 50% Gyr. He's a falconry bird, he hunts ducks. He was born in captivity, that's why he is a hybrid. He was born for falconry. He's not a wild bird.
So would he be sterile because he's a hybrid? Or?
No. So, does anybody know how fast a peregrine falcon can stoop or dive? Yep.
230 miles per hour.
230? Anybody else? Yep.
272 miles per hour.
Right, 276 miles per hour. I feel like we're playing The Price is Right. Come on down. Yeah, so they tuck their wings and they just dive at their prey, right? And what they do is when they come down on their prey, they open up their feet, they lead with their feet, and they blast the bird. They stun the bird with the blast, the impact of their feet. Now these guys, I'm more leery of their beak than I am their feet. The other birds, I am very respectful of their feet. I'm respectful of his feet, but I'm not as leery of his feet as I am a hawk or an owl. I'll get to you in 1 second, okay? And when I first got him, I took him to Vesh to get his health certificate, and I'm used to grabbing hawks, and I could tell that he was going to get away when the towel went over him because they spin really fast. So I grabbed his legs to control him, and he did like a sit-up, and he bit my hand down to the bone. And you can see he's got a toenail tooth, a notched beak, and it's razor sharp. And they take apart their prey different than other birds. Owls usually take the head off and then eat the whole body, unless it's a bigger animal. These guys like pluck every little feather off, all the fur off, and then they start just taking little pieces of meat and eating it. So if you were to look at one of their pellets, the pellets are all smashed up, and you can't put the skeleton back together like you could an owl's pellet. Yes?
I wanted to know why they wear those. Do they wear those masks where they can't attack?
Okay, so he was wondering what he called this a mask. It's called a hood. And I'm sure people have seen horses with blinders on, right? The blinders on horses, so what they can't see, they don't get all frantic. We use this to keep them quiet. Lights out on diurnal birds, super quiet. You can't do this on an owl because they don't care about the dark. Diurnal birds are afraid of the dark. So they're not supposed to move when it's dark. And it conserves their energy. It helps when you're in the field so they're not freaking out and scaring whatever you're going to hunt. And it's just an aid to calm them down. Any other questions about Voodoo is his name? He's named after a fighter jet from the Vietnam War.
You know how old he is?
Yes, he's 17 years old. So he'll live until he's probably 25, 30 years old.
Older.
Yeah. Now, you know how dogs, large breed dogs, don't have a very long lifespan, and smaller breed dogs have a longer lifespan. It's the opposite with the birds. So the bigger the bird, I'm going to have you stand over here or by your parent, okay? Just so that the birds aren't right by you and they don't go to the bathroom on you or something like that. So the bigger the bird, the longer the lifespan. Those smaller little owls can live anywhere from 8 to 10 years, and then it just goes up, in age groups. Yes? His name is Voodoo. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes. Why do his feathers what? Fall off. Okay, so
There's one right there.
So he's molting right now, and they're dropping feathers. And what's really interesting when you watch a molt on these birds is the same feather on the left side will fall on the right side within, a couple hours. It's even. And there's definitely a molt pattern. It starts from, the inside of its wing and works its way down into the armpit, and then it goes back to that same point and works its primary feathers out. It's very, in the feathers, tail feathers, the two middle deck feathers fall out first, and then the next outward ones, and they keep going to the outside. It's amazing to see how it's all balanced and how Mother Nature has this formula. Any other questions? Yes?
Do gerfalcons still use the stoop that peregrine falcons?
They do, yes.
So he will do that too, right?
He does do that, yep, yeah. And peregrines and gerfalcons like to hunt ducks. It's probably one of their favorite things to hunt. Yes? Gerfalcons will come down this way, and it's usually, like how the snowy owls had an eruption. So, further north, if they had a great season, then yes, they'll eventually move down here. Every once in a while, we'll see one down here. There was one reported last year up in Maine. So, let's see here.
You fly them a lot?
Yeah, I fly him in the fall and winter. The question is, what do I feed them? They have a variety, a wide variety. So they get day-old chicks, they get quail. I pick up a lot of roadkill. If it's fresh, I'll give them squirrels. I'll give you this. I'll start with him and then I'll hand him off to you. Rabbit, you name it. Duck, they love duck. What's your question? That's the largest he's going to get, and they can get anywhere from 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. Here you go. Can you step up? Good boy. So let's do this. This is Guthrie, yes. So if Jay Leno was a bird, I think he would look like a barn owl. Now, we don't have these guys in our area. Some people say they've had them years ago. But they're not. It would be rare if they're up here. I drove down and saw one down in Rhode Island a couple years ago. It was a big female. But if you look at his face, you see a heart-shaped face, right? Which side? So his right side of the heart sits a little higher, right? That ear sits down and faces downward, and on the left side, the ear sits higher and faces upward. Now, these guys, owls can see 10 times brighter than we can see. They can see in infrared, so they can see heat. They can see urine, blood. Owls can hear the heartbeat of a mouse 3 feet under snow, and they can tell which direction that prey is going. That's how acute their hearing is. And if you look at his feathers, you see all the little flecks all over his body. The female has more flecking, and the male obviously is brighter and lighter. And they have these little lines on their head with the same flecks. And one of their defense mechanisms is they put their head down and they'll shake no, 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 no. But I videotaped it in slow motion, and it's not just going back and forth, it's in a figure 8. And as you're looking at those markings, your eyes get disoriented. So what he does is he kind of scrambles the brain of a predator, and then he jumps up and grabs them with their feet when their eyes are all like, whoa, what's going on? So they're found more like Pennsylvania and south of Pennsylvania, kind of that belt line that goes across the country. They are found in like Illinois, maybe southern parts of Wisconsin, and then as you get out west, you know, it kind of dips down. You can, when Lindsay walks by, look at his feet. You'll see that the feathers don't go all the way down to the tops of his talons, and that's an indicator of what he's equipped to handle. And a lot of snow, even our small birds here have feathers all the way down to the tops of their talons. Yes, you have a question?
I want to know if they can.
That's okay. Any other questions? One thing that's amazing about their eyes is if you have a question?
Does he have any predators?
Does he have any predators? Other owls would be predators to him. I'm actually going to grab that skull for 1 second. So if you look at their eyes, and on Guthrie, his eyes look small, but they're not. Like, it's just the way, because of the bright white face and the dark eyes, it kind of makes your eyes like narrow in on the eyes. But if you were to hold up 2 pieces of fruit to compare the size of their eyes to their face, you'd hold up 2 small grapefruits. So, and their eyes are locked in sockets, so you can see on the skull. They don't have the ability to roll their eyes like we do. So they don't have a sense of peripheral vision. You know, they don't see like we do. We can see this, so they have to turn their head. In our neck, which is our cervical vertebrae, we have seven vertebrae. They have 14. It's an adaptation to allow them to turn their head 270, 280 degrees in each direction to see over their shoulder and see what's behind them. Owls are extremely hypersensitive, so any little movement, anything, like a pine needle coming from the sky, they're looking at everything. They're constantly taking, it's almost like they have post-traumatic syndrome, like they're just like jumpy. And their awareness is insane. It's different than a hawk. Yes?
How do you know if they're females or not females?
Oh, that's a good question. How do you know if a bird of prey is a female or a male? Same with American robins, same with blue jays. You know, you look at them visually, they look the same, right? So with birds, and especially birds of prey, the female is bigger. She's equipped to hold eggs, lay on the clutch. With raptors, they share time on the nest. They share time, working and feeding the young. But because I look at these birds all the time, I've noticed patterns on them. And I took a black light and held it up to their faces, and there's definitely a distinct pattern. Now, a lot of people will say that's not true, but it's just the way my eye sees pattern, right? And it makes sense because from across the field, they have to know. They don't have a sense of smell like mammals, so they can't smell that's a male or a female. They have to be able to visually see, and then they also hear the calls. They communicate to each other. Yes?
Also, how high can they fly?
I don't know how high an owl can fly. They usually roost in trees. They don't fly and ride thermals really high like hawks and owls. They may during migration, but I don't know for sure. Any other questions? All right, I'll bring out the big finale bird. Depends on the size. So this is a Eurasian eagle owl. She is a relative to the great horned owl.
What kind of owl?
A Eurasian eagle owl. So a great horned owl. Anybody know how much a great horned owl weighs? 5 pounds? Yeah, that's pretty close. They weigh between 3.5 and 5 pounds. Leela weighs about 8.5 pounds. She's double the size of a great horned owl. What do I got here? Here's a great horned owl foot. Look at the size of her foot compared to a great horned owl foot.
What is her name again?
Leela? So, Eurasian eagle owls are known for eating badgers. They love eating badgers. And great horned owls control our skunk population. So whenever I get an injured great horned owl in, it reeks of skunk. Yeah. Now you can see her ear tufts. She's molting right now, so she's missing some of her ear tufts. But those go straight up like antennas. And that's signaling, like when she makes herself really skinny and her ear tufts go straight up, she's high alert, what's going on. And then when they are straight down and she's calm, everything's good. These guys in their native setting will take down a small mule deer. Small mule deers are smaller than our white-tailed deers. It's a very powerful bird. Can you show them their lifespan? This is a good one. She could live up to 50 years in captivity. Same with an eagle, a bald eagle, a golden eagle could live up to 50 years in captivity. I'm going to see if she'll show you her wingspan. Yep.
How did they kill their prey? Did you say?
Their feet.
Their feet. Mm-hmm. Okay, so coming in like the other.
Yeah. So Russia, Asia, and Siberia. The question was, how do they kill with their feet? So that little barn owl, the blast of that barn owl's foot when it hits its prey is equivalent to a 1-ton truck hitting a 170-pound man. So you can imagine what the blast of her would feel like, right? So I'm going to have everybody hold still. I'm going to have you put your hands down. I'm going to show you her wingspan. In the event that she tries to fly away, it's a lot of bird to manage. She'll be okay. I just have to get her back on the glove. But just stay quiet, because the more frantic you are, the more frantic she's like, oh my God, what am I frantic about? And then she'll flop around. But hopefully she won't do it. Yeah. Show me your wingspan. Good girl, there you go. Good girl. There you go. Good girl. It feels good today, doesn't it? Show me your wingspan. Good girl. There you go.
Big bird.
So I I was gonna fly a bird today, but my red-tailed hawk is too fat during their molt. I know. Okay, so falconers like take pride in their birds' feathers, and so we feed them up a really rich diet when they're molting, so they have these beautiful feathers to fly with during hunting season. And my bird is just way too fat. And then I was gonna fly my vulture on a creance line, and it rained all day yesterday, so I didn't get to really practice with them. And the day before that, I was practicing with him, and he took off on me, and I'm like, I'm not gonna risk it near a road. So anyway, I brought extra birds to make up for that flight demonstration, and I'd be happy to come back in the fall and fly my bird around. Yes.
Does this bird have any predators?
Does she have any predators? That's a great question. Do great horned owls have predators? The only predator a great horned owl would probably have is another great horned owl. And if it was hurt on the ground, if maybe a coyote or a bobcat was dumb enough to take them on, they could try. They'd get snagged up with their feet pretty bad. Yep.
Do you have any snowy owls?
Do I have a snowy owl? I do have a snowy owl, and in this setting, it would make them go bonkers. Yes.
You don't use owls for falconry.
Not in the state of New Hampshire, and to be honest with you, I don't know how you'd even hunt with an owl because they have ADD. I mean, they're just like, they get distracted so easily. They don't hone in. Yeah, it's different. Yeah. Yes. Leela. Yeah. You have a question, buddy?
Where do they live?
Where do they live? They're native to Russia, Siberia, and Asia.
Like, how much does a fully, how long is a fully grown Eurasian eagle owl's wingspan?
So hers is about 6.5 feet, and the females are bigger than the males.
So like 7 feet?
Yeah, 6.5, 7 feet. She's about 6.5, I'd say. Yes.
Are there any records in the States of sightings of these?
No, they're native to Russia, Siberia, and Asia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rare sightings.
That would be someone lost their eagle owl. If they, I got her from a breeder in Oregon. Breeds them for zoos, exhibits, and educators. And he hunts with his out there. Yes.
How much do they eat?
How much do they eat? So when I feed her once a day, and it's at night. She'll eat anywhere from 5 to 10 mice, chicks, quails, whatever. Yeah.
Where do your birds, are they released back to the wild, or are they mostly?
The wild ones are. The education birds are. They have their own enclosure and.
Space to fly.
Yep. Yeah. It meets all the regulations, and like Urchi, I fly around in my backyard. So yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming.